Good morning, everyone. Dzień dobry. This panel will be held in English. Welcome to the panel organized by Polish Power Exchange, Nowa Giełda Energii. The title of the panel is Common European Power Market from Finland to Morocco, a chance or a threat. It will be the only panel in Nizza that will be live on the internet. We're also getting questions via internet during the panel, so the panelists will be able to answer your questions, also questions coming via internet from those who watch it live on internet. So technology has come to things as well. We have four excellent panelists today with us. From my right, Mr. Grzegorz Michałowski, Chairman, President of Nowa Giełda Energii. Then Michael Mundi, CEO, Nord Pool Spot AS from Norway. We have with us Bert Den Polen, CEO of APX Index Exchange from Netherlands. And last but not least, certainly we have with us Marek Boszczyk, who is Deputy Chairman of Polish Energy Market Regulator.
We started as a power exchange in the Netherlands, but then we expanded. So we started by building, acquiring UK power exchanges. We are now active in that market very well for 10 years now. And then we started to do projects together with Belgium and France, with the recent addition of Belpex and the agreement that we would merge, of course, the Belgian and the Dutch exchanges. We also merged, I think a few years ago, 2 Dutch exchanges. So this is an illustration of the fact that we are really going to a regional exchange in each of the countries. I think the time of more than 1 exchange per country is past. I think we're now going to a regional setup of the market where you will have bunches of countries having 1 joint exchange. And we do it, and that's special for us, we do it not only for electricity, we are also involved in natural gas, and we're involved in spot and in derivatives. Now, will that grow the volume? Well, next slide. Yes, it does. We are now trading on a yearly basis 450 terawatt hours, which is, I think, 3.5 times the Polish electricity demand. And we trade it in the United Kingdom, in Belgium, and in the Netherlands, and we're growing it on a yearly basis. And we have 350 memberships all across Europe. So we are that regional exchange. And you will see this regionalization of development in various corners of Europe, I think, and this is the way to go, and then those exchanges have to work together. It's also one market with a much better competition, and you see this also in the futures markets, next, where you see that the futures converge. Interesting, for instance, also in our situation, that the Dutch prices were initially quite high. Then they converged to the French and the German, and now the Dutch prices are even below the French. Why is that? Because in such a bigger market, it's not only good for the consumer, because he has better prices. It's also good for the producer, because he's a wider area to optimize. And that was especially important for smaller countries or smaller markets, that they have a bigger area and you can optimize about a greater range of countries. Everybody wins. The consumer wins, the producer wins, the politician wins because they see a more stable price. And we don't have high volatility. And in the end, I think the economy is the winner because it's all happening more efficiently.
Would we like to have more and more power plants in each and every region, in each and every country? Or do we want to have connected markets using the obvious synergy of building cables between markets and having trading on these cables, utilizing the synergy of Europe? So first of all, the integrated market is an obvious synergy when it comes to competitiveness of Europe. But I think also the integrated energy market supports the other pillars of the EU energy platform. I believe there are 3 pillars here. It's the competitiveness, it's the sustainability, environmental pillar, and security of supply. And integrated markets also support sustainability. If we can utilize the resources better, having integrated markets, that's good for environment. Security of supply is also benefiting if we can build more cables and integrated markets. And I believe here Poland has some challenges. in refurbishing their domestic network, as well as building more interconnectors to other countries, for instance Lithuania. And most important, I believe, is to open up the interconnectors to other countries for free trading, for third-party access.
I remember when Jeffrey Sachs came to Poland in 1999, he said Poland needs three things to have a success. He said fiber optic cables, fiber optic cables, and fiber optic cables. Now, for the common energy market, here in Europe, we need three things, which is cables, cables, and cables. I mean, cables are becoming the thing of the 21st century.
First of all, I think we still underestimate the problem, which seems to be very, very serious. Even during the panel yesterday, the investment panel, there were a couple of voices saying that Poland is quite safe regarding the energy supply. I do not share this optimism. It's especially in the view of the climate package which is coming. What is it? The security of supply. Security of supply is not only making sure that you get the energy, but as well that you get the energy in reasonable price in order to have a competitive industry. So building connectors, as we said, is the challenge number one. Challenge number two is to bring the liquidity to the market, to bring the transparency to the market. And that's why we are here as an exchange, as average, and specifically our exchange. We are relatively successful, you may say. Looking at the numbers this year, connecting to the numbers here, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, now we have a reasonable numbers on our markets. For instance, yesterday on a forward market of the Slovakian energy was more than 300,000 megawatt hours. On that specific day, on a day-ahead market was about 25, which seems as well to be reasonable, but this is only as much as a Lithuanian pool supported by Nord Pool. So it's still a way ahead. And without the liquidity on the market, without the transparency, it would be very, very difficult to participate in this integrated market. Because if we don't have a local liquidity to which we can add the market coupling, then our price wouldn't be Polish price, it would be just the price of our external surrounding. So I think those are the most important issues. If we take our cooperation with Nord Pool, we today estimate the costs to start market coupling between Poland and Scandinavia for about 150,000 euros. For 150,000 euros, we can bring to both markets extra 600 megawatts of power. Ask Mr. Zadroga, for instance, how much does it cost to build 600 megawatts of the capacity? So at least in terms of the effectiveness, in terms of being able to bring more capacity if it's necessary, of course to be more flexible. The Scandinavian power system is quite flexible to ours. So that is the benefit of such a connection as well. It's not comparable. That's our statement. We need to have transparency, we need to have liquidity, and we need to have a connection, and then we'll manage. Okay? So I think all our exchanges are able to cooperate, are ready to cooperate, and we know how to do it. As Mikael said, and it was in this, the title of our panel, we are technically able to set up the price from Morocco to Finland. Let not politicians disturb us. Yes. Let's take those barriers down, because this is in the deepest interest of this country. And we are not exaggerating. It might be big words, but we are really facing today a situation in which we see that, for instance, this famous obligation of trading on an exchange in the energy law was quite controversial. But bear in mind that this is just a first step. We had to have this step because without this step, it wouldn't be possible, for instance, to bring the market up, because the liquidity local wouldn't be big enough to do it. Thanks a lot.